live. Uh, t- uh, the title of the thumbnail is Star Wars, The Acolyte in particular. That's what I'm going to start off talking about. And I'll try to avoid spoilers the best I can. I'm not the type to spoil, but I want to keep expectations in check where who knows what slips out of my mouth in terms of information and content. The Acolyte takes place before Star Wars Episode 1, and my review of the show so far is that it's pretty good. Just when you think it's not great, it redeems itself. And I think that the fact that only one new episode comes out at a time, I can't remember if, I think the premiere had 2 episodes, but the fact that only one episode comes out at a time kind of keeps expectations in check. Maybe, or maybe not, because whenever I see some scene where a character gets emotional, I kind of feel like, all right, get on with it. I get it. This person is upset. So, the pacing, I feel like the pacing could be a bit more modern, a bit more twisty with plot, significant events. No one's tuned in yet. I feel like I should be more energetic up top with these live streams, not because they're live streams, but because they turn into regular YouTube videos after the live stream is done. So, but that's the thing. What do? I guess you trim it, because it's not like I'm gonna like redo or restart the live stream. So, there's that. I don't know how much more I have to say about the Acolyte. I can talk about Star Wars more in general. No one's tuned in yet. I like Star Wars, but I'm still a very casual fan. And the first movie I saw with somewhat of a sad ending or negative ending, one that I remember at least, was Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And I think I was probably the intended demographic by George Lucas, where I didn't bother to watch the original movies, maybe just my age, and also the aesthetic of the first 3 Star Wars movies in terms of like release, not timeline, is old. So like I wouldn't have been drawn just as a kid, and so the point is I didn't see it coming. I didn't perceive Anakin Skywalker to be Vader. So it was quite profound. That was a thing. Welcome, 4 viewers. I titled this video talking about The Acolyte, and I said it's worth watching, basically. And the thing I really want to talk about is my stand-up comedy processes. But if I put that in the thumbnail, no one's going to watch. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I can talk about how that relates to Star Wars. Stand-up comedians, a lot of us are inquisitors. Because the fact of the matter is, for the swarms of comedians out there, there can only be 2 that make it per comedy scene at the most. And the Sith have the rule of 2. So what does that mean for the rest of us? Because we're all on the dark side. Okay, the first message is held for review, and there's 7 people tuned in. So I'm going to click view message. I wonder if it's going to be racist or just vulgar. View message. My butthole. Nice. I'm glad it's not racist. 82_blue says my butthole. And would you like to elaborate on that? Is your gastrointestinal health in check? Because fiber is important. Hydration is important. Corey N says, the role of comedian something you are proud to be. Pride. Pride in comedy isn't great. It's probably something that might hold you back as a comedian. Pride. But I think I'm proud of certain accomplishments. But am I proud to just refer to myself as a comedian? Probably not. Hey, what's up, L? How's it going? Welcome back. So the thing with comedy and being a comedian is that, like, famous comedians, when they sign their contracts, their job title is not comedian, it's actor. And that means that pretty much anyone can be a comedian. So actors have a union called SAG. The acronym is SAG. Comedians don't have a union. Comedians don't really have comedians don't have licensure. All you To be a comedian, to refer to yourself as a comedian, there's no regulatory board, there's no licensing. You pretty much just have to go to an open mic and talk on stage. But even then, you don't have to do that. It's the world of comedy is so loose and metaphorically libertarian, which means there are no rules in comedy. That one of the implications of comedy having no rules is that pretty much anyone can refer to themselves as a comedian, for better or for worse. So it's very accessible. Team Beyond says, what we do if I donate $500? Who or what are you going to donate the $500 to, Team Beyond? Because I guarantee you don't intend to donate it to me. Let's be real. Donate that $500 to a good cause. Okay? Donate it to folks in need. Al, how are you? Welcome back. Thank you for returning. I titled this live stream as related to The Acolyte, which is the newest Star Wars show on Disney Plus. And I burned out of Star Wars material for this live stream within seconds. I don't want to spoil anything, but even with that, I feel like even if I did spoil stuff, I'd run out of stuff to talk about within like 2 minutes. So, my favorite thing about Star Wars, even though nobody asked, is the lightsabers. Are the lightsabers. R is more grammatically accurate. The bright things. I've watched a few episodes of Star Trek, and the writing is witty, and the plot is like cool. But those them lightsabers. I need like production value and glow sticks. I'm a simple dude with simple needs because I need lightsabers. Corian, is being a comedian something you could build your life on? Is it something you could find time to do on the side of another career? Yeah, Corey, that's a good question. It's much more so the latter, the side of another career, because comedy takes place primarily at nighttime, almost exclusively, but there are daytime gigs. I think realistically, most people would need a day job and or other means of income to live, to pay for living expenses. I think that there's also some stuff to note about what does it mean to be a full-time comedian. Does it mean they're performing exclusively and all of their income comes from that? Or does it mean that they do comedy at night and then their day job is related to the entertainment industry and they have some comedic function? Those are questions surrounding definitions and maybe semantics. But yeah, is being a comedian something you could build your life on? I think but it's possible. That's the thing. It's possible. But I think the more realistic circumstance of a full-time comedian, one that performs every night, is one that probably lives in their van, if not that, crashes at friends' places in different cities and different states, if not like absurdly cheap motels. They're touring cities and states that are not like New York and LA, because those markets are very saturated. So it's sort of like places like Ohio and the cities within that might pay a wage that's livable. So thank you, Al. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Al. I have concerns about touring. I have a food intolerance that I talk about on occasion. Culturally speaking, I think being an Indian American might not translate as well in certain markets. Although I feel like I've met Indian American comics that tour aggressively, so I'm sure I'm not that exotic. So it's I'm also reluctant to like sleep in my car or van because financially speaking, that's sort of the best thing you can do to either break even or make a profit if you're trying to make money on the road. But it's also not something I've necessarily tried. I've traveled for comedy, but a lot of those travel and or lodging fees were paid from my own like money from which for day jobs and things. Speaking of day jobs, I don't know, like I was talking about definitions earlier, like if you're a full-time comedian, does that mean you make money exclusively from performing? Or could that mean that your day job relates to entertainment or relates to comedy? It could also correspond to money you make off of social media. Uh, this is all subjective. Like it's up to how you define it. I think like comedians can access corporate markets to perform for corporate entities where they pay more, but you have more content restrictions to work with. So they'll probably say no cursing, no vulgarity, no insulting of the company you're performing for, maybe no insulting of their clients. They might have restrictions on political content. And even if they don't spell out the restrictions, even if that's not spelled out in the contract, you might want to be mindful of like a potential recurring relationship with a client. Because if you say stuff that's too edgy, then they may not want to rebook you. But that also depends. I mean, here's the thing. By me not relying on comedy for income, I'm liberated to do the art as I choose. I'm liberated to pursue comedy as I choose. And that artistic integrity is quite powerful. So I think there's a silver, if not bronze, lining to not being a full-time comedian is the fact that you can perform it on your own terms and do the jokes you want to do the content you want to do. Corey and by the way, Al says, "See ya. Hope we meet again. Have a good day." Thank you, Al, for tuning in. Hope to cross paths again, whether it be virtually or otherwise. Corey N asks, "Is it a dream career where it's hard to as becoming a big shot celebrity or to expand? Is it a more realistic career to be a big and is it practically a hobby for you?" So it's definitely, financially speaking, it's definitely a hobby for me. Financially speaking, first and foremost. As for the amount of time and energy I put into comedy, I would characterize it as a full-time job, and even like the passion, like it occupies my headspace. I gotta stop messing with my hair. Let me just get it to whatever. Yeah. So financially speaking, it is a hobby. Otherwise, it's a full-time job and more. But that's not. I'm not saying that as if it was forced upon me. I'm saying that it's a big passion and but also the work that goes into it in 2024 these days, because to climb the ladders in comedy for show bookings, you would ideally have some social media presence or some portfolio of comedically relevant content. Ideally, uh, that's not central to show bookings. What is central to show bookings is a combination of likability and talent. Um, and the perception of said talent is subjective. It's not objective, which is where the likability often comes into play. Uh, MZ says, "Are you Indian?" Yes, I am, but I was born in the States. But Indian is also a valid description of me. Nelson Kiki says, "Hey King, I appreciate that. What's it? What's up? What's it?" Nelson Kiki says, "Love you, King. God bless." Thank you. Very, very kind. So yeah, Corey. Hopefully that explains that. Corey, do you have like an interest in comedy? Oh, thank you, Corey. Corey says, "For a comedian, you're very logical. It's admirable." I appreciate that. Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said the word logical because I think stand-up comedy is an art form where you have to be very selective with your words for it to work based on convention. You have to. I think stand-up comedy prioritizes concision and it prioritizes sort of word count and syllable count because that's that concision is what makes the punchlines pop. Whereas I think with other performing arts, such as spoken word and poetry, you may not have to be as choosy with your words. Nelson Kiki is just on fire. Thank you for the kind words, Nelson Kiki. Yeah, no, thank you. Comedy has helped me organize my thoughts. By the way, if you're tuning in, the title of the live stream is about Star Wars, and I'm talking about my stand up comedy pursuits. But I can try to allude to Star Wars as often as I can. I can tell you my Acolyte story of comedy. Acolyte being the newest Star Wars show, but the earliest installment of the Star Wars timeline. I started comedy in 2019. That's when I turned to the dark side because comedians tend to be cynical, jaded human beings, and frankly, yeah, that describes me. I mean, I probably come off as very approachable now, and I am very approachable, but in sort of the comedic headspace. The reason I would say the reason I and many other comedians are brave enough to get on that stage is because on some level we were numb to the world, and we needed something spicy enough to kind of feel something. So the stage fright is that stage spice. I should be a spice dude. Is that a boy band I could join? Spice Dudes. Aiden Smith, do I have any favorite British comedians? Yes. Uh, I liked watching. I saw John Oliver live in Baltimore in 2017 or 18, 2018, and but I saw him before I started stand up, and I appreciated his YouTube show that was more on like political commentary analysis. I think there are. What's the British comedian whose last name is Jarvis? Big fan of his. Uh, Corey asks, with spoken word and poetry art, there are different types. Is comedy like that? Yeah, in the sense that I think what you're getting at, Corey, is spoken word and poetry art. There are different types, like subtypes, like genres within those. If that's what you mean, then yes, comedy has genres. Those genres could be culturally informed. They could be based on content restrictions. So like G-rated comedy, PG-rated comedy. Clients that want shows may have their own content restrictions. So if I was booked by a church, they'd probably not want me to do religious material unless it was in a way that propped up their belief system or the equivalent. So, yes. Then again, I think I saw a YouTube clip of Dave Chappelle mentioning how like the Grammys, which I would say is a very music centric award show, has a category for comedy, but they don't have subcategories for comedy. So there might be entities that don't recognize comedy to have subgenres. But as a regular guy like me that's not famous, that makes a little bit of tip money off of comedy, I may have clients or friends that may want me to perform, and they may want me to emphasize certain things like themes or messages in my comedy. Like if it's someone's graduation party, it could be about the kid graduating, or it could be full on adult. The last graduation party I did, if not the only one, was a medical school graduation party. So obviously, I'd focus on medical. Yeah, Ricky Jarvis. Yeah, I hope Gervais. I'm. Yeah, very very good comedian. He is. Yes, I also hope to perform overseas. I've performed overseas. I used to live in Hawaii and perform there, but I've not performed outside the United States. That's something I've not done yet. It's kind of funny. I could perform outside the U.S. without going overseas. I could go to Canada or Mexico, but I just haven't done that yet. So hello, devil underscore God. How are you? Thank you for saying hi. I the viewers, the number of viewers is fluctuating. I'm at 3 viewers. That's okay. I wonder if I should tie this back to Star Wars. I The Acolyte, which is the newest Star Wars show, I think does a good job of putting a little bit of comedy into the villains. But I guess that was also done in the original Star Wars films to some extent, I think. I think there were some quirky lines that Darth Vader popped. But for me, what I grew up on were the prequels for Star Wars, and those were very serious, which I liked. Uh, so, what else can I say? I am thankful that 4 of you are watching. I am. What do y'all watch Star Wars? 6 viewers, or should I like not address that? I've been talking about my comedy pursuits. I Yeah, let me say, like, I think what I appreciate about being a comedian that's not necessarily famous and or not necessarily making it or on the cusp of making it is that I can pursue the art form on my own terms without reporting to, I guess, a manager of sorts. So I tend to like to be in control of my stuff, but maybe I'm just saying that because a manager. I don't I don't know that a manager has contacted me, at least with something legit. Corey asks, "Are you a pharmacologist?" Aiden says, "I've never given Star Wars a chance." Uh, that's interesting because Star Wars is very it's very inconsistent in a lot of ways. So if you're bored, then give Star Wars a chance. But if you're busy, maybe hold off till next life. Shout out to the Hindus. Corey says, "Are you a pharmacologist?" I have a doctor of pharmacy degree. I have a PharmD. That is the degree to become a pharmacist. I do not practice as a pharmacist, though. So I have knowledge. Pharmacologist would be usually, I would say, someone with a PhD in pharmacology. That's my loose definition. But I am a doctor of pharmacy degree holder, pharmacy graduate, if you will. You could even call me an unlicensed pharmacist, a pharmacist who doesn't practice and doesn't have licensure at the moment to do so. That's a fair assessment. My day job work is in clinical research, where my job title is medical writer. It's a type of technical writer, and I work on usually regulatory documents related to clinical trials and clinical study reports. So that's my day job world. Pharmacy school, I was not a fan. I got through it. I did graduate, but I strongly disliked it. It might even be accurate to say, to some extent, that I hated it. I say that all the time with a little comedic spin, but even without the comedy, hate just might be a valid characterization. It was a rough time, pharmacy school. This filter is doing too much. Let me do something normal. That's normal. Corey says, "That's incredible. I'm pursuing trauma surgery, but have been looking into pharmacology specialty. Do you have any tips? Anything you'd advise of the specialty?" Whoa, Corey, are you a doctor? Like, are you a physician? I feel like you should be giving me advice. My parents would be a big fan of you, Corey. Uh, are you a medical resident? Are you a medical student? Or tell me your credentials. That'd help me give you advice. Speaking of career advice in healthcare and comedy, Z-Dog MD is a medically trained comedian. He's a doctor. He once said my name on a live stream because I commented on it. And if that doesn't make me famous, I don't know what does. uh, I remember I met a comedian that was pre-med, and he clearly liked comedy. I mean, who doesn't? And but then the question was, would he do med school? And I asked him a pretty simple question. It was something like, "What are your plans? Like, what do you want to do in medicine?" And his answer was, "I want to do that on the side and focus on comedy, but right now I have to study for the MCAT." So I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like I can't do med school on the side. I could barely do pharmacy school on the front. Like that was the main, if not only, priority. And pharmacy school is typically, if not always, easier than medical school. Or maybe it's not, because the kids that get in, myself included, aren't as smart or good at getting into stuff. Here's the thing: pharmacy school was hard, but it was really easy to get into in the U.S. The pharmacy schools in the U.S. would just take you. That was not the case for medical school. Uh, so I wonder if pharmacy school was hard because it was inherently hard, or I just sucked. So that was a very humbling experience, and but like I don't even know that it was justifiably humble. The experience is just money hungry pharmacy schools, universities. I keep on messing with my hair, but let's see if I can try to answer the question. Corey N is pursuing trauma surgery, but has been looking into pharmacology specialty. Do I have any tips? Those two things sound different, Corey. Surgery and pharmacology. I'm really interested to know where you are in your career path. I guess that makes sense if you're early on. Like it sounds like you might be a student of sorts. Uh, Anyone else have questions I can attempt answering? Life advice. Maybe you're a Jedi and you're getting jaded by the politics, politicization of. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Maybe you are a proverbial Jedi that wants to do good and is getting burnt out, and ends up becoming a Sith, which is code for stand-up comedian. I The rule of two, which is that there can only be two Sith Lords, which are the villains in Star Wars, it seems kind of analogous to the fact that stand-up comedy is kind of the production is sort of a one-person show. Like it's very few. Like one person has such a powerful voice. Their voice doesn't even need to be powerful. It can be amplified by the microphone. So like in a way there's a power imbalance. And as a comedian, we love it. Like that's why we do it. Or one of the reasons. I'm really thankful that 7 people are watching this. I am thankful indeed. I titled this as Star Wars: The Acolyte. That I'm going to talk about it. If you have specific Star Wars questions, then I'll address them. Nelson, thank you for the kind words. Nelson Kiki. It'd be funny. Nelson has been sending me all these kind messages, but it'd be really funny if Nelson Kiki has not yet subscribed to my channel. So please do, in case you haven't. And if you already have, feel free to share the link to my channel. Nelson Kiki, how is life? How are you doing? How is your day-to-day going? If it ain't going great, make sure you do self-care, you get enough sleep, drink enough water, exercise when you can, meditate if that's what you're into. Take care of yourselves, people, and then that'll help you take care of others, my friends. Furthermore, yes, I feel like I should talk a little bit more about Star Wars to do justice for what I titled this live stream as. The Acolyte is a solid Star Wars show. I think what makes it good is the fact that it only released 1 episode at a time, so we're hungry for more, and therefore our standards aren't as high. We just want something. Andor is my favorite Star Wars show. Corey finally got back to me. Nelson, thank you for the kind words. Feel free to invite your friends to the stream, Nelson Kiki. Corey says, I'm not currently into the process of surgery ed as I'm a teen, but I'm also interested in going into pharma. Any tips? Any cons of the specialty? Okay, so gotcha, Corey. It sounds like you have not yet entered college. Mm, I think maybe allow the classes that you take provide insight to those questions, which is let me reread Corey's question. Is okay? It sounds like you're interested in going into pharma. Okay. Uh, any tips? Any cons of the specialty? Uh, I'm gonna revisit that. Aiden Smith says maybe being a stand-up duo would be a good USP. Is USP an acronym, or did you mean use? Stand-up duo. Yeah, I've encountered stand-up comedy acts where there are two comics on stage as opposed to one, and it does work well. Yeah, it's yeah, I've encountered that twice. I wonder if that's a numeric pun. Uh, it works really well. Yeah, I think it works really well for siblings where like the two people are pretty much inextricably tied. Because I think the yeah, it was siblings that I've met, and yeah, it works well. I'm an only child, and that's definitely not the only reason why I wouldn't do a two person act. If I do, it'd be like a podcast or a themed event or like a themed show. It would not be a regular recurring thing if I was part of a duo. But yes, a two person on stage, it does have a unique selling point indeed. But those two would have to be like really. I feel like identical twins would work well because they're literally like wired the same. Maybe I'm ignorant to that. Maybe there are epigenetic differences. Google epigenetic. Epigenetic means that your environment has implications on gene expression. I think that's the correct description or definition of the term epigenetic. Okay, I'm going to go back to Corey N's question. I'm not currently into the process of surgery ed as I'm a teen, but I'm also interested in going into pharma. Any tips, any cons of the specialty? So, I mean, I have a doctor of pharmacy degree with, and there's no, I, I don't have credentials that make me a specialist in I mean, I could use that as a figure of speech. But there's a such thing as a specialty pharmacist. I'm not even a regular pharmacist. I went a different route. So if you're talking about a physician, you would want to talk to physicians, MD degree holders or DO degree holders. So other than that, I can generically say that pharma is lucrative. Is that a bar? Is that a pun? I can generically say that pharma is lucrative. I mean, you got to pay the bills. People are always going to be sick. So, healthcare for the win, I guess, under capitalism. We have two people watching. Yes, but yes, that the comedy is lit, and yeah, the rule of two. Ooh, I wonder. Yeah, there should be like a dual like a comedy duo that plays off of like the Sith, which are the Star Wars villains. Yes. Wow, we're 33 minutes and 33 seconds into the stream. I will probably wrap up soon. It's almost 1 a.m. Eastern time here. Back to random Star Wars rants. Star Wars Andor is probably my favorite piece of modern Star Wars content. I think my favorite Star Wars thing of all time is the third prequel, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Very profound movie with a profound impact on me, particularly because it had a pessimistic ending. I never really saw a movie that had a like a negative ending. That was the first one I saw. We're at 4 people tuned in. Welcome. Feel free to introduce yourselves if you've never been to the stream before. You can send me a like a controversial comment if you want. I think it'll come through. I just expanded the filter right now on the chat in case anyone wants to comment something wild, because the first comment of this live stream was butthole, and I unveiled that, and I was thankful that it was not a racist comment. So I feel like people do submit like problematic comments, but they probably don't even make it to the other side to me. Aiden Smith says, any other favorite shows? Black Mirror is a big favorite of mine. Black Mirror on Netflix. I watched Black Mirror when I was in a very low point in my life, and I would binge Black Mirror episodes. And I think the reason was to have like an accompanying misery, and also like I think something sparked where like I wanted to pursue some form of entertainment, like industry wise. So I think that influenced my eventual pursuit into stand up comedy. I had this niche wish that I would be like an actor, but specifically for a Black Mirror role. I feel the same way about Star Wars. I would if I was a big time actor and I got a Star Wars role, but that Star Wars role did not involve wielding a lightsaber, that'd be a big waste. I either want to wield a lightsaber or like not at all, or be like a fan reenactor of Star Wars lightsaber fights. The lightsaber, like that's what I want. Karsten Hall, hi. This bow shout out, please. Shout out to Karsten Hall. Is that what you mean? Hi, this is Bow. Shout out, please. Oh, I'm shouting out Bow. Is Bow Wow on the stream? Lil Bow Wow, the hip hop artist. Shout out to Bow. I'll take a bow, unless it's pronounced Bo, which you are a gift. Black Mirror is really good. I agree. Corian's asking, did you or do you play any sports? This is a popular question I get. I think almost every live stream someone asks me if I play or have played sports. I played soccer in high school. I boxed. I was in club boxing in college, and right now I rock climb. I go to an indoor rock climbing gym in addition to just occasional working out just to stay fit. I wouldn't characterize myself as a fit human being. I just do enough exercise to kind of be generally healthy. Rock climbing is a tough sport, but the way my rock climbing gym is designed and the way most are designed is that the physical barrier to entry, they basically make the walls really easy. Or they have enough easy walls to make it a manageable sport for a beginner, and not only a beginner, but one that's not necessarily athletic. So I also like ping pong, table tennis. I think I have not talked about table tennis yet on any of my live streams, and I'm a big fan of playing table tennis. It's been a while, though. It has been a while, and I am wondering if and how I'll revisit table tennis. It looks like I'm down to one audience right now, and it's also 1 a.m. here. I think this is a good time for me to wrap up. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't, and check out my content. Comment if you want me to focus on any topics, or contact me through my other social media, which you can find linked on my YouTube. I like to mood it on Instagram, and I'm mood it comedy on TikTok. Peace out, y'all. Thank you so much.